My name is Wayne Will, product specialist with C&B. Been in this role for a year and a half or so. As a product specialist, been in the Deere world for 5 or 6 years now. But today I'm going to cover mostly just on the green sprayer, but we're going to go over some of the key features and benefits of See and Spray, right? You've heard the buzzwords of See and Spray and the Sense and App type technology. What makes it work? What makes it tick, right? So we're going to cover some of that here, give you a better idea of how the system works and what kind of makes the magic happen. So that being said, before we get too far into it, there's a lot more that we can cover in 15 minutes, obviously. So please reach out to us at C&B or talk to somebody with a name tag if you do have questions after the fact. We got enough people here, we can get you an answer, depending on what it is. So, also Equipment Mobile. There's a nice little app on your phones you can get that has all the quick reference guides, operators manuals, serial number specific parts, things like that. Really handy tool that you can have on your phone. So, that being said, where's the future of ground application technology taking us, right? So there's a few different things that we can take a look at as far as the future of where we're going to go with how we put chemical out on the ground, right? And how we put out our crop protection products, right? So that being said, we have a couple different ways we can do that. We have See and Spray Ultimate, which you see behind me here on my left, which is the from factory dual tank solution system. It's got all the bells and whistles, right? We also do have, as you see on the screen there, we have See and Spray Premium, right? So what's See and Spray Premium? It is our performance upgrade type solution for a Sense and Act spraying machine, right? It is compatible back to model year 2018 sprayers and newer, right? So we do have to have Exact Apply and Boom Track Pro 2, but you can get those with the See and Spray Premium upgrade kit as well. But essentially, giving us the ability to see the weeds, spray just the weeds, rather than the broadcast application over the whole field. One of the drawbacks, potentially, maybe it's not a drawback, is that you would not have the dual tank solution system with Premium, right? You're going to have that single solution system that you've been using in the past. You're just adding the functionality of cameras of seeing and spraying, right? So that's See and Spray Premium, and I'm gonna spoil it a little bit here, but that's the kit that's gonna be going on the Hagie sprayers next year, right? So we can get it from the factory on the Hagie sprayers. So I won't steal too much thunder from you there, Jeff, but I just want to plug that in there. So what makes the See and Spray Ultimate machine different from Premium, right? So one of the differences is that we're gonna be able to spray 12 miles an hour with Premium, versus on the Ultimate, we're gonna be able to spray 15 miles an hour, right? And that is a testament to the how fast the technology is improving and changing over time, right? So the software's been updated. Essentially, not really any hardware has been changed, but as the teams of engineers are working on the software, improving things, we've gotten that additional 3 miles an hour that we can spray, right? So that being said, what do we have on this sprayer? We've got dual products, right? So we can do 2 different tank mixes, right? So anything that was typically in the past antagonistic to each other, right? You couldn't mix together. We can spray separately, right? So these 2 tanks can be used completely separate from tank to nozzle tip, right? So there's no cross-contamination, no way of antagonism counteracting the active ingredients, things like that. So really nice to be able to have that, right? We can do a broadcast residual, and then we can come along the same exact pass and do our spot spraying contact herbicide, right? So anything that's already growing, we're gonna hit it, but we're gonna leave behind that protection for later on in the season. So that being said, we don't lose any functionality with this sprayer over any sprayers that we've had in the past, right? We're just adding layers of functionality on top of each other. So before you can step into something like See and Spray, well, I guess you could step right into it, but essentially understanding the Exact Apply spray system, right? We've had it out for several years, since about 2018-ish time frame, maybe a little before that, but Exact Apply is the foundational building block to how See and Spray works, right? We have to have individual nozzle control for it to be able to sense and say, this is where the sprayer needs to spray and it needs to spray now, right? So it's important that we understand the anatomy of our nozzle bodies, also how the software works in the displays, right, our interface. So it's important to know how to set it up both on the outside and on the inside to make that work properly. And then we crack open the door of See and Spray, right? So once we understand Exact Apply, we can step into that new world of See and Spray, right? Because it's adding another layer of complexity, but of efficacy on top of it, right? So, so with the dual product solution system, you set it up in the display. We can spray it separate, right? Or we can spray it in a combined tank, so we can spray broadcast with the whole tank, or you can see and spray with the whole tank, or you can split it, right? There's different tank sizes, right? So all the way from the 1,000 gallon to the 1,600 gallon tank, and that is approximately 65-35% split between tank 1 and tank 2, right? So your smaller tank is going to be typically your see and spray tank, and then your bigger tank will be typically your broadcast application tank. So this particular machine really shines with an aggressive residual herbicide program, right? So coming back later in the season with that contact herbicide to pick up whatever the residual lost, right? Whatever escaped from that residual application. So this does also have these fancy black booms here. We've got the carbon fiber truss style booms. Those are exclusive to See and Spray Ultimate, right? It's the only sprayer that you will see carbon fiber truss style booms. So if you see a sprayer with the black boom like this, it's got to be an Ultimate machine at this point, right? So they had to redesign how the boom was, built and use carbon fiber to accommodate the additional hardware that goes onto it, right? So some of that additional hardware being, as you can see right above your head there's a processing unit. That's called a Vision Processing Unit, or VPU. And essentially all the cameras are speaking to every one of those VPUs, and the VPUs are what tells that machine, all right, that's a weed we need to spray, right? So there's 10 total VPUs on this machine here, 36 cameras across the width of the entire boom, and spraying, 2,100 square feet per second, or looking at 2,100 square feet per second. So there's a lot of information going through that system at any given time. So, okay, pressure recirculation, product reclaim, that hasn't changed, right? Since model year 22, we've had the ability to get that in our sprayers from factory, whether that's a 412R or a 412R See and Spray machine. With the dual product solution system, those two systems can function completely separate, right? So we pull product in with product reclaim from system 1 back into tank 1. We pull product back in from system 2 back into tank 2, right? Same thing with pressure recirculation. It's going to recirculate just that system if you have that turned on, right? So some really nice features on our sprayers as it stands today. And those features are not necessarily exclusive to See and Spray. Those are available for all the sprayers that are coming from the factory now. So another thing I want to hit on here is the Boom Track Ultimate. So what's Boom Track? Anybody know what Boom Track is? Jeremy, what's Boom Track? Height control, yeah, exactly. I thought I heard you say that. So boom height control, essentially they redesigned it again to improve its stability, right? So in order for this system to see the weeds most effectively, it's got to be really stable, right? So essentially we added 4 more inertia measurement units. So we have 5 inertia measurement units across the width of this boom. And essentially that's going to measure where the boom is and try to counteract where the boom is going to go before it goes there, right? So it measures pitch and yaw and momentum and things like that. So and then we do have the height sensors, right? So we've got across the width of the boom, we've got our boom track sensors. You can see there's one down there. And there's also, some on this boom here you can see, but essentially just your radar sensors looking at the ground to keep you at the right height, right? So improvement over the Boom Track Pro 2 system. We do have that Boom Track Ultimate, exclusive to the Ultimate See and Spray Ultimate machines. So, all right. So, like I said earlier, depending on how you have it set up, depending on how you want to spray, right? Most common configurations we're going to see is going to be broadcast in tank 2 and a contact herbicide or See and Spray with tank 1, right? So, this is kind of an example of what some of those screens are going to look like, right? So there's, depending on how you have it set up, it will function differently, right? So you need to be careful on which tank mode or which tank configuration you select to accommodate what you want to do, right? So those are just the examples of tank configurations. Talked about the carbon fiber booms. Talked about the cameras, right? 36 cameras across the entire width, communicating to 10 VPUs across the entire width as well. There's our VPU locations. Boom Track, like I said there, the Boom Track Ultimate system exclusive to this sprayer helps keep that boom steady and level in the field as you're spraying. So essentially, this system requires it to see the weed, right? So we have a couple of things. They recommend spraying with rows, right? We have the ability to spray cross rows, but essentially it goes with, if it can't see it, it's not going to spray it, right? So the more you drive across the row, there's more potential that you might miss a weed here and there. But it will work, right? So, and then obviously once the canopy's closed, you're not going to see weeds below the canopy, but volunteer corn, right? That sticks up above the canopy, right? And we don't have to broadcast the whole field anymore because we can go out and we can spot spray that volunteer corn. So a lot of really neat functionality that we gain with this sprayer going forward. So earlier this morning there was a presentation that Kyle Patton was given, and he said he'd mentioned that 80 to 90% of our sprayers in the next 10 years are going to have some sort of see and spray type technology on them. So this is, when we talk about where's the future of ground application going, this is where the future of ground application is going, right? It's going to seeing weeds and not broadcasting the whole field, but just spraying on top of those weeds. So